Okay, so if you stumbled across my channel and you've probably got yourself a herniated disc, slip disc, bulging disc, whatever you want to call the thing, um, and you're sort of heard the terminology or looking at surgery, what they call microdiscectomy. This is where they go in and remove the offending bit of disc somewhere in your back um, to help relieve pressure on your nerve root. Now, if you're like me, you're probably really hesitant to get surgery done because it is, not something you hear a lot of good about. So I did my usual thing, researched it up on YouTube and found there was a lot of information there. Not many of the people were Australian based. I'm based in Australia and a lot of the information was, 7 years old. So it's now July 2022 and I'm going to give you a rundown of what it's like to have a microdiscectomy in the 2022s. So I think that makes sense. Anyway, so the first thing you should do here in Australia, if you've got a herniated disc, is obviously get yourself an MRI. You probably already got one, but as soon as you've been diagnosed with a herniated disc, I can't stress this enough. Make an appointment to see a neurosurgeon. These guys have long waiting lists, and you'll be up to $300 to $500 for your first consultation fee to go and see them. But even if you're not going to even if you're not really contemplating surgery, still do it because, I've seen a number of people who have been doing up, 6 weeks, 6 months into rehabilitation work and still in agony. So sometimes rehab, intensive physio, core strengthening doesn't help. If you're overweight, a smoker, don't have a lot of core strength, rebuilding your core strength and strengthening will definitely help. And I'd even suggest to do it even if you pre-surgery if you can. It helps a lot with your recovery. I'm now 10 days after surgery. So, I've had my pinched, exploded disc in my back in my case, for over 10 weeks or so roughly. It's been a bit of a hell of a journey. I haven't been able to work. So anyway, I'll continue on. I'm starting to go off track there. So what happens, you got to go get a referral from your doctor, but even if you don't have a referral, you can still ring up and make an appointment for a neurosurgeon and then get that organised, get a referral to your doctor, from your doctor, and go for your rehab. If it doesn't work, you can always cancel the appointment with your neurosurgeon. Keep in mind that neurosurgeons' consultation fees here in Australia are between $300 and $500 for your first visit. But when you have your first visit, you'll talk to them, ask all the dumb questions you want. They've probably been asked it all before, and to them, it's a pretty common everyday thing they do, so it's not as scary as what it feels to you. Now, I was scared as hell going into this because all I've ever heard about back surgery is failures. I've never really heard any positives. So, the term shit and bricks, was what about comes to mind. But anyway, after talking to the surgeon, he said basically, he looked at my MR and said, you're a perfect candidate for surgery. Nothing you're going to do exercise-wise is going to fix your problem. If you've got bits of disc floating around in your back, I suggest you have surgery. So, okay. I'm an RN, but the easiest way I can explain the surgery is a bit like if you've ever had a knee arthroscope where you've had a flap of cartilage removed from your knee joint. Basically much the same thing. You walk in, you walk out, although it's normally an overnight stay in hospital. For me it was anyway. Some people walk out that afternoon, but that was just because I live about 300 k's away from the hospital. Anyway, I'm digressing there. So you go in the hospital as a day surgeon person here in Australia. They prep you up and do all that sort of stuff. You'll get wheeled into the operating theatre where you've already got a cannula put in your arm for the drip. The anaesthetist will come and see you and talk to you about pain medication afterwards, and whatnot, and whether you're allergic to whatever stuff, just double check things. You'll wheel into the operating room where everyone will be sitting on their phone and taking, I don't know why, but probably going to take photos of your bum when you're on the bench, but who cares? They wheel over into a bench which inclines your head down, so you're bent with your head facing down. They do insert a tube in your mouth in my case, so you're going to have a really scratchy throat afterwards. Mine hurt for about 3 days afterwards, so something to take into account. Have some strepsils or something like that, so you can get a bit of feeling back in your throat again. The surgery takes about 1 hour and 45 minutes. They put a cut somewhere in between, in line with the disc that they're doing, and your spine and the side of your body, so halfway in between your spine and your side of your body, left or right side depending on where your bulge is, and they'll make about a 50mm incision and then go in that way. There's several ways they can do it. There's microdiscectomy, there's robotic versions of it, so where they use a robot to assist. So there's a couple of different ways. You need to ask your surgeon which way he does it. All about the same sort of pain level anyway. So after that, you wake up in your recovery room, and my biggest scare was back pain afterwards. How much agony would I be in after the operation? And to tell you truthfully, no pain at all. My sciatic nerve pain had dropped from, I'd gone in the operation at around about a 5 out of 10 pain-wise, and it was back to about a 1 or a 2 out of 10. So it was pretty good, but you got to remember, they've got you on a drip with pain medication in it, and you've also got a pain pump where you can push the button and get your required pain dosages as you need it. I found I only needed to do that a couple of times in the first 2-3 hours after recovery, and then the stuff they had in the drip was way good enough. So, a night in recovery, the surgeon come around and tells you how your operation went, but basically they blow in, blow out, and they just say, look, the physiotherapist be in, he'll give you, you can have a talk to him and ask him more questions. So I guess one thing, if you've watched a lot of videos on YouTube, they will talk about not being able to move, bend, twist, fart, stand for too long, sit for too long, sit in a car for too long, do anything. Basically, I was told I had no limit on what I could lift, stand, bend, twist, as basically if the disc is going to blow it, it's going to blow it again, no matter what the hell you do. All you're doing by not moving is delaying the onset of the reoccurrence of the nerve pain as the nerve starts to heal. So the physiotherapist will give you an exercises. They'll get you up and walk you around, make sure you're not going to fall down. And if you've got stairs at home, they'll put you up and down stairs, just make sure you're right. And basically that's about it. You walk out. I had a 3-hour car drive home. I took 2 Panadol before I got in the car and had no problems, just a bit, sore in the back from the incision. So you're still wearing down off the pain medication that you've got in your system. And then after about 2-3 days, the nerve pain started to come back. And by the 5th day, I was in a fair bit of pain. You're supposed to make an appointment 7 days after your operation and to see your doctor so you can get some more pain medication if you need. They sent me home with endone, but endone doesn't agree with me. Another thing on the note of that is the pain medication they give you in hospital will constipate you like you won't believe. So, if you don't like tearing yourself in your bum hole, get yourself some stool softness before you go into hospital. Another thing of note, when you do get home, you can shower. They just glued the wound together, so there was no problems there, no stitches, no staples, no nothing. It was slightly uncomfortable to lay on, so you tended to lay on your side a bit, but other than that, you've probably already had enough uncomfortable sleep before the operation, so this is nothing new. So as I said, around about day 5, the nerve pain kicked into around about a 7 out of 10, an 8 out of 10. So back to about 90% of what it was before, when I had the nerve pain really bad before the operation. So, exactly sort of same thing, but it's now day 10. I should say I went to the doctor, let me get this, on the 7th day and got myself some gabapentin. This stuff's great, gabapentin, and also you should be on anti-inflammatories too, even before you start the operation. You can take this up to a day or so before the operation. Just check with your anaesthetist or your surgeon. And then, having them afterwards. The other thing with the anti-inflammatories is you can only take them for 7 days straight. You need to get yourself some Nexium or Somac because they really mess up your guts. The other thing is you'll get antibiotics in hospital after your operation. Get yourself some yogurt or something like that to get your gut flora back together so you're not feeling, so uncomfortable in the guts afterwards. So at around about day 7, I was feeling like shit. This operation really wears you down. You can sort of get up and do something for half an hour, then you feel tired. You'll have a mild headache. Well, I did anyway all the time. It sort of felt like I was more like a tension headache type band around your head. But that's probably a lot from the swelling around your spine and on your spinal cord. And then coming on to day 10, today is probably one of my better days. Last night was the best night's sleep I've had in ages. I probably got a full 4.5 hours sleep straight. So, things are looking up. As I said, there was no limit on what I can do. So I've been walking since I've got home, doing short walks, moving around. The sooner it seems that you get moving, and this is only my experience, the sooner it helps get the nerve settling down. If you leave it and sit around for 2 weeks because you're scared to do anything, and believe me, it's hard to sort of get up and convince yourself to do something because you think you're going to just hurt yourself again. The longer you leave it, the longer the nerve has, you're just going to drag the nerve pain out longer because the nerve's going to have to, as you move around, the nerve stretches and moves and pulls and all that sort of stuff, and it's been compressed for a while. So you just think of it like a sheet with a crease in it that you've laid out in the bed. After a while, within time, that crease will make its way out, and that's basically what's happening with the nerve. The nerve's got to decompress, and it just takes time. So it's not unusual if you come home and your nerve pain kicks in, and you're back feeling like, what the hell did I have this operation for? They said the operation caused no more back pain at all. So that wasn't uncomfortable like that. It wasn't overly scary to get it done. I just hope, going forward, this could be another, 5 weeks before I can get back to work. So at week 3, I've got to go see a physiotherapist to get an exercise program to help get me strong again. And hopefully I'll be back to my normal duties as a heavy plant mechanic. And we'll go from there and see how long I last doing that. Well, I hope this was some help. I'll try and do a update in about 2 weeks' time and let you know how I'm faring with that. If you're interested, if you've got any questions about it, pop the comments down below, and I'm sitting around doing nothing, so I'll probably answer you reasonably quickly. Okay, catches.